Gavin Newsom just had a talk about the redistricting, right? And talking about obviously what's going on in Texas, where you have the attempt at 5 new seats. Gavin Newsom just recently made fun of Ted Cruz's math, because in Ted Cruz's world, 43 plus 9 is 51. Good Texas math, guys, that educational system. 43 plus 9, 51, guys. It's amazing. So anyways, yeah, there's a good video here that I want to watch with you guys of Gavin Newsom talking about Donald Trump poking the bear. And like I said, a lot of what Gavin Newsom is doing right now is actually pretty based. He's doing a good job. I've said this before, if Newsom comes out of this, there's a lot of people, in my opinion, that I'd much rather have as a political candidate. That's just my opinion based off of values and things that I think that I think there's better people. But if you're just talking about potential of winning, you know, Gavin Newsom, if he comes out of this looking like a strong figure against Trump, he probably has a pretty good chance of winning the primaries and possibly either beating out Trump in a third term or J.D. Vance if J.D. Vance runs instead. There will actually be Republican primaries next election if Trump doesn't run for a third term. So that will be interesting as well to see that shit show. The primaries last year were kind of amazing, to be honest with you, and I'm kind of looking forward to Republican primaries again, because it is a shit show. So I want to watch this video. It's Newsom hosting his Liberation Day event. I thought we already had Liberation Day. Didn't we already? Wasn't that the tariff day? Wasn't it April 2nd or 9th or something like that, Liberation Day? You can't just keep reusing names. I mean, you can with MAGA, because MAGA does not remember what happened last week. So I guess we're reusing Liberation Day. But this is a video of Gavin Newsom talking about Donald Trump having poked the bear.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for being here.
He does have televangelist vibe. I agree.
Thank you.
I agree.
When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win.
Thank you. Thank all of you in the spirit of that African proverb.
It's got a little bit of a Kamala Harris vibe, you know? There's definitely, you know, there's a big difference between Trump rallies and people that are actually, you know, not filled with anger and hate. People that actually want to, like, do good things. There is definitely a different vibe
That Senator Padilla was referencing. You want to go fast?
Yeah, I
go
kind of
alone.
agree with
You
that,
want to
Michael.
go far? Go together.
I appreciate that.
And I look back at this audience, and I look at all of you united in this cause, and I'm reminded where we are at this precious moment in time. We are in Los Angeles. The most diverse city.
The one thing I have to say is Newsom really does, like, stand on business for California, right? Like, he does have pride in California. And that's something that, like, the left has a really hard time with, because a lot of times it comes off as being disingenuous or, you know, dishonest, or they don't want to be too cocky. They don't want to overplay their hand. They don't want to say, you know, my state's better than your state, whatever. But Newsom has been doing a very good job on X of kind of, you know, showing pride in being a Californian. And as a person that's been a lifelong Californian, I have, you know, dealt with just, you know, decades worth of people crying about California. I love California. I wouldn't really want to live anywhere else in the country. I love being here. You know, and unless I'm going to move to Canada, I doubt I'll ever live in another state. I really enjoy it in this state. I enjoy the social safety nets. I'm here because of those social safety nets. I don't mind paying the higher taxes because I know they go to good things. Obviously, there's always, fraud or waste in the government, and obviously that could get better. But up until COVID, California actually had a budget surplus. And the reason that we have a budget deficit now in California is because we took care of people during COVID. And so, the way I look at things is that, at least as far as being someone who is representing the state, he does seem to have a lot of pride for the state, and I do appreciate that.
Most diverse county in the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. And I've long believed that the world looks to us, to all of you, to see that it's possible to live together and advance together and prosper together across every conceivable and imaginable difference. What makes LA great, what makes California great, and what makes the United States of America great is that at our best, we don't tolerate our diversity, we celebrate our diversity. And it's a point of pride because we're all in this together. Where are we? At Democracy Center. And right outside, at this exact moment, are dozens and dozens of ICE agents.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that, but literally they sent ICE agents to stand outside of Newsom's press conference. This is really, it's boiling down to California versus Donald Trump, and that's no shade on New York. I think New York is also involved in that fight, but I think on the big stage right now, it's California versus Donald Trump. And we kind of knew that was what was going to happen when you look at abortion rights, when you look at progressive agenda. Like I said, New York really, really does a good job as well. But one of the reasons people hate California is because progressive agenda starts in California. We show that it works in California, and then it slowly spreads across the country, and people hate that shit, even though they benefit from, the financial, economical, benefits. Places like Georgia that now have, huge solar panel companies, huge lithium battery warehouses, manufacturers, all due to Joe Biden's Infrastructure Act and his Inflation Reduction Act. They asked Joe Biden, they said, how do you feel about the fact that red states are benefiting so much from, these acts? And he said, they fucking need it. It's fine. That's good. That's the whole point. But it does feel a lot like right now, when conservatives talk shit about California, it's out of jealousy. It is out of jealousy because they know that California is now the fourth largest economy in the world, the fourth largest, and might be the third largest soon. They want California. But just like a woman that doesn't want one of these conservatives, when that woman says, oh, I'm not interested, they go, oh, I never wanted her. She's ugly anyways. You know what? She would be lucky if I even paid any attention to her at all. It's the same abusive relationship. Donald Trump knows that California is the crown jewel. It's economically the most successful state in the union. It's as far as, what type of environment you have everything from the beautiful beaches in Southern California to the beautiful mountains and forests in Northern California. You have amazing lakes like Tahoe. You have great national forests like the redwoods. You can ski here. You can tons of water sports here. You can go to the beach. There's so much here in California. And constantly what people want to say is, oh, it's such a shit state. There's homeless everywhere. The thing is when you have 30 plus million people in a country, in a state, you're going to have homeless people. That's going to happen. And when you attempt to take care of those homeless people, and I'm not saying that we're doing it right, there is a lot of work to be done. There are different ways that should be tried. But when you're trying to help those people rather than just take them off the street using federal soldiers and then force them into either internment camps or mental health institutions, yeah, you're going to have some homeless people. And I'm not saying, like I said, that California does it all right. I think that there are more things that California could do better when it comes to the homeless population. But when you compare it to what's going on in Washington, D.C. right now, that's a whole fucking different story. I will take 1,000,000 Californias over what is going on in one Washington, D.C. today.
Donald Trump, you think it's coincidental? No. Donald Trump and his minions, Tom Homan, tough guy, clearly decided.
Yeah, remember when Tom Homan said he was going to arrest Gavin Newsome? That never happened. Never happened.
Coincidentally or not, that this was a location to advance ICE arrests. Indiscriminate? Perhaps. We'll find out later. It was certainly indiscriminate when a 15-year-old disabled boy had a gun put to his head in Los Angeles trying to go to school just a few days ago. I met with it. I don't need to belabor this, except I want to level set. People are scared. People are fearful. You had a United States senator that was thrown down to the ground in a federal building. Alex Padilla. J.D. Vance's name is Alex Padilla, not Jose Padilla.
You know he did that shit on purpose, though.
That's the Vice President of the United States. It's another museum not so far away from us. Talks about those 53 days. Some of you know what I'm referring to. Wake up, America. This is a serious moment. Wake up to what's going on. Wake up to the fear, the anxiety. Wake up to what's happening, not just here in Los Angeles, where we saw our streets militarized. We saw our due process rights thrown out the window. You heard the word disappeared. I was with a 12-year-old boy born in Oxnard, California, whose mother and father were disappeared. 20 years going to the same packing facility every single day. He didn't even know how to get back into his own home, into his own house. Had no brothers and sisters.
That's crazy.
He has now disappeared in an attempt to find his parents. That's Trump's America. That's the moment we're living in. So these are sober times. And so I'm deeply grateful to all of you for standing up and for being here today. I'm grateful for all the elected officials that are here, members of Congress, not just our 2 U.S. senators, to members of the California legislature for having the courage of their convictions, for standing tall and standing firm, to recognize today is Liberation Day in the state of California. And as Senator Schiff said...
Okay, hold on. Gavin Newsome, you can't reuse the name. Are we taking it back? Are we taking it back? Oh, dude. Oh, you guys are killing me. Oh, no, dude. Oh, God, you guys are killing me today. Yeah, come on, Gavin Newsome. You can't just reuse Liberation Day. Like, at least call it Liberation Part 2 or something like that.
As Senator Schiff said, Donald Trump, you have poked the bear, and we will punch back. Here's the good thing about California, folks. We're the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah, we
We're the
are.
fourth largest economy in the world. We're not a small, isolated state. I know they say don't mess with Texas. Well, don't mess with the great Golden State.
And see, that's what I think he does well. Like I said, there's a lot of people, if you're not a rural American that really wishes you were in Idaho, if you're not one of these, farmer types that if we were Texas, if we would be so much better if we were Texas, if you're not one of those people and you live in California, you love California. It is a beautiful state. I love living here, and like I said, I will not live anywhere else. I love this state, and what he does well is he does show appreciation and pride for the state that he lives in, and I like seeing that. I don't think that it gets shown enough.
We're here with our state of mind, with the clarity of our purpose and conviction to recognize that we need to reconcile the world we're living in. We do have agency. We're not bystanders in this world. We can shape the future, and that's what we intend to do today. We're here because Donald Trump, on January 6th, tried to light democracy on fire, tried to wreck this country, tried to steal an election, as Alex just said, by trying to dial in for 11, almost 12,000 votes. And here we are, an open and plain sight before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules.
Yep, and that's why the left has to be the same way. Like, this is the part that the left is going to struggle with so hard right now. Because the right does such a good job of coming into left-wing spaces and saying, oh, so you guys are going to gerrymander? I thought you guys were against gerrymandering. And it's almost every time that there's like one person that's on the left that's like, well, actually, I'm against it, man. Like, you know, I do agree that we shouldn't be doing this. And, you know, the next thing you know, that person is arguing with other people on the left and they're saying, you know, like, fuck that shit. If they're going to gerrymander, we are. And that person's going, well, you know, I do hear what you're saying, but like, we've got to be the bigger person in the room. And, you know, when they go low, we got to go high. And that doesn't work anymore. At the end of the day, if Texas even talks about it, like, in my opinion, this shouldn't even be a question. I don't think that Gavin Newsome should be sitting up there saying, hey, if Texas does this, we're going to do it. I think that the moment that Texas even thought about it, the moment that somebody said, Texas is about to do this, they're talking about doing it, Gavin Newsome should have said, fuck it then, we're going to do it. Not if you do it, regardless, we're going to do it. Because this like defensive posture, trying to do some type of stopping of what Republicans are going to do by just reacting to the things they're doing is probably not enough. Let's be honest. If they choose to do something and we know we have the upper hand in doing that instead, we shouldn't even be talking about defending that action. We should just be doing it. The state of California, at this point, should gerrymander every single district. And for anybody out there that's left-wing that's like, well, man, what if we do it and then everybody else... Well, you know what happens if every other state in the union starts gerrymandering? We own the House for the rest of fucking time. That's what happens. Because you can go through all of these areas. They're sparsely populated in these red states. And the places that they are the most populated are in the blue areas. If we're going to have a bunch of people that are only reacting to when the Republicans do stuff, then we are going to constantly be fighting a fight on our back foot. And at one point or another, the left has to go on the offensive. I get it, because the left is always this person, right? The left is always the one saying, we're not going to do something until they do it, and then we'll do it in turn. And sometimes we won't. We'll just point at them and try to shame them, but that shit don't work. Donald Trump, as Gavin Newsome just said, not only does not play by the rules, he doesn't believe in the rules. He doesn't believe that the rules apply to him. If you want to win the midterms, if you want to win the next election, if you want to have elections at all, you're going to have to go on the offensive. You can't just react to what they do. You need to do it to them first.
And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done. It's not good enough to just hold hands, have a candlelight vigil, and talk about the way the world should be. We have got to recognize the cards that have been dealt. And we have got to meet fire with fire. And we've got to be held to a higher level of accountability. So that's what this is about. It's not complicated. We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said, find me 5 seats. We're doing it in reaction
Yeah, don't forget about the time he called Georgia and asked for 11,700 votes. Like I said, the one thing I have about this is that like we're acting like any of this behavior is new. You know, like I said, I don't mind reactive defense, but at one point or another, you have to go on the offense. You have to predict what Trump is going to do, and you need to beat him to the punch. Because if we don't, at one point or another, you're going to have somebody in one of these blue states that's afraid to do something. You know, you had Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan attempt to do hey, we're going to just, work with Trump and try to, help keep things within the boundaries, keep guardrails on it. And I think by working with him, I can make it happen. Even Bernie Sanders said that. Bernie Sanders said, if Trump and Elon Musk want to, keep down credit card rates, then I'm going to work with them on it. They're not going to do any of these things. It's all lies. It's all bullshit. It's just to keep you from doing something offensively. They want you to be reactive. They don't want you on the offense. And at one point or another, we're going to have to go on the offense. That's what has to happen.
To that act. We're doing it mindful of our higher angels and better angels. We're doing it mindful that we want to model better behavior, as we've been doing for 15 years in the state of California with our independent redistricting commission. But we cannot unilaterally disarm. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear.
I like that.
We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear district by district all across this country, not just in Texas, but in Missouri, where J.D. Vance went just a week ago, in Indiana, in places like Ohio, in places like Florida. We need to stand up, not just California. Other blue states need
100%.
to stand up. We need to be firm in our resolve. We need to put back. So we're here in that light. And I'm grateful to have remarkable partners in the legislature. It's a tall task. We're asking them for 2/3 of a legislative consent. But this is the difference. This is the difference between what's happening in Texas and what's happening here in California.
And see, like I said, that's the death of the Democrats right there. It's great. I think it's very honorable to go about it in this manner. But you're setting yourself up for failure. If you are not 100% certain that you are going to get those numbers, you are handing Donald Trump the House again in 2026. Because at this point, if Gavin Newsom goes about this in the way that he wants to, and he does not get the votes that he needs, he cannot just enact this. If the people in California say no, and Newsom goes for it, then you're going to have a bunch of people that are going to be, rightfully so, pissed the fuck off because you said, hey, do you guys want to do this? We said no, and then you did it anyways. The left will never learn. They will never learn that Donald Trump, he literally just said it, doesn't believe in rules. Look, I was there a year ago when people would say, do you think we should expand the Supreme Court? I would say no. I go, no, that's a bad idea. Well, why is it a bad idea? Because if we expand the Supreme Court, then Trump comes in, Trump expands the Supreme Court, or whatever Republican gets in next goes in and expands the Supreme Court, and it's this endless, cycle. But at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump just expands the Supreme Court, even with the fucking already having a 6-3. If I'll say this to you right now, and you can fucking bookmark this. If Kavanaugh and Conant do what they have been doing for the last 6 months, and occasionally going outside of the guardrails that Donald Trump wants them to stay within, and vote with Democrats against some of the things that Trump wants, he'll expand the Supreme Court. Because he will put people there like Bove. This is the whole reason that Emil Bove was just made a federal judge for life. Because it is one step away from being a Supreme Court judge. They're hoping that Clarence Thomas or Alito retires so that way they can replace them with that fucking crazy ass fucking person. You're not going to find a time in the near future where Donald Trump just goes, you know what? This time I'm going to play by the rules. You know, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's play by the rules. Things like the Epstein files are the perfect example. If you ask Donald Trump to do something that he can do within the rules, he will look you dead in the fucking eyes and go, I don't know anything about that. I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can. I don't think I can. He doesn't play by the rules. And Democrats cannot continue to fight a fight like this. It's like playing defensively, thinking you're Mayweather, but you're getting socked in the mouth over and over again. Your Philly shell is not mitigating damage. You're getting beat the fuck up, and the whole time you're going, no, I've got a good plan. I'm defending. He's going to get tired at some point. Let me just go ahead and say this. Donald Trump does not get tired of authoritarianism. Donald Trump can do dictatorship every single fucking day for the next 4 years. I don't know about you, but I'd rather not deal with that.
We didn't receive a phone call from the President of the United States to then quietly go in the back room and start drawing maps and legislatively try to jam them through against the consent of the people. We're doing precisely the opposite. We're working through a very transparent, temporary, and public process.
I think that's a trap.
We're putting the maps on the ballot, and we're giving the power to the people. This will be the first redistricting that's ever done that. That's the difference. We tried to raise the standards, and these guys...
Look, there's that video. There's that video of that fucking, I don't know, was he a Muslim guy? Like Saudi Arabian guy? The older gentleman with a gigantic gray beard, and he's like, you know, democracy is for the people. But the problem is the people, they are retarded. And I was like, that's what I think of when he says that. Brother, we just got Donald Trump by listening to those people. I don't know that I'm counting on these motherfuckers. Look there, I was just having this conversation with this guy earlier today. And we were talking about the future of just the country, not government, like generational. Young people. And I was saying, you know, hey man, I know it's easy to get like, you know, angry and look at, you know, generations of people and say, I don't like the things that they do, that things are degenerating, things are getting worse, but there's a lot of good to be had. And I want to be hopeful that the good will outweigh the bad. And I am totally okay to do that. Just not in these scenarios. In these scenarios, I have zero faith in humanity. I've talked to some of these people face to face. You're not going to reach these people by being like, yo, like, I know that you would normally vote with Trump when it comes to this, but check it out, I'm giving you a chance to do the right thing. They're like, Trump. Fucking, you're like, no, don't push that button. Trump. Fucking, that's what they're gonna do.
Are not playing.
Oh, thanks for the dollar, Dean.
Of rules.
Thank you for the dollar.
So this time requires us to act anew, not just think anew. And so I'm grateful to all of the remarkable leaders that have stepped up this unifying effort here in the state of California. And we'll be asking for the people on November 4th, a special election coinciding with a lot of local municipal elections, to provide a temporary pathway for congressional maps. We will affirm our commitment to the state independent redistricting after the 2030 census, but we're asking the voters for their consent to do midterm redistricting in 2026, 2028, and 2030 for the congressional maps to respond to what's happening in Texas, to respond what Trump is trying to excite. and will do so in a way that also affirms our desire as a state to level the playing field all across the United States. We believe in a national independent redistricting framework. And we believe that's the right goal and the right thing to pursue. And I will just state for the fact, Zoe Lofgren, who runs our California delegation, she authored the bill. Democrats unanimously supported that National Independent Redistricting Commission. Republicans were nowhere to be found. They want to
because they're all going to lose their jobs. They know
these elections.
Kevin Kiley's ass is gone. Doug LaMalfa's ass is gone.
And they want the power that gerrymandering provides because they know what Donald Trump knows. He's going to lose the midterms. He knows de facto his presidency ends in 17 months when Speaker Jeffries is back in office. He knows it. Why else? Why else would you try to rig the system? Why else would you make the phone call? He's a failed president. Who else sends ICE same time having a conversation like this? Someone who's weak. Someone who's broken. Someone whose weakness is masquerading as strength.
100%. Double speed.
The most unpopular president in modern history. An economy that's collapsing all around him. You saw the new wholesale prices going up almost a full percentage point today. Inflation is going up.
Yep. PPI, guys. This is what drives me nuts. Like, I recognize that due to my job, I spend more time looking at this information than most people do. But I cannot stress enough that if you don't understand what the consumer price index is, if you don't understand what core inflation is, if you don't understand what the PPI is, if you don't know what these things are, you should make yourself aware of them. They're very important. And fuck, I say that, and as soon as I think about it, I'm like, well, if they are for now, 3 months from now, all this shit that I'm saying right now absolutely isn't actually going to mean anything because Donald Trump is cooking the books, dog. The PPI right now is fucking out of control. It's up another percentage point. Like, prices are going up. I literally just got into a conversation with a brokerage where a broker had let me know that a product was going to be available in a warehouse. And the reason that this product was unavailable was because they were repackaging. So when he sent me the sheet for it, I looked at it and I said, cool, more shrinkflation, ouch. And he sent me back, no, man, they're reducing their price. And I was like, I'm not that dumb, okay? I know I'm from the trailer park. I'm not that dumb. And I went back in my price history because we can go all the way back, right? So I went back pre-COVID. I pulled out the 6.5 ounce box. I showed that it was 56 cents an ounce. I then showed their last repackaging, which took it down to 5 ounces per package. That was just towards the tail end of COVID, I'd say 23. And I showed that it was 60 cents or 66 cents an ounce. And then I pulled the package that he showed, which was now 4 ounces. 4 ounces. That is now 77 cents an ounce. That is not lowering your prices. Not to mention that now a business, I work for a mid-sized business, is now losing 51 cents a profit per unit that is sold. I was just looking on my shelf today, and I thought, oh, that looks weird. That box looks different than that box. And then I looked at another one, and I said, wow, that box looks different. There are literally 3 different boxes that have all been shrinkflated that stayed the same price. You need to be up to date. There's a Reddit you can go and look at. There's a Reddit for shrinkflation to see what I'm talking about. There are many different ways that these corporations shrinkflate, and they do them in very devious manners. If you buy a box of Pop-Tarts, and when you first started buying Pop-Tarts, that fucking Pop-Tart had frosting all the way to the edges. I guarantee you now, if you go buy that same Pop-Tart, When you buy it, it only has frosting in the middle. This is the way that big corporations continue to make profit and then not reinvest those profits back into the product or the people that are making them, but into their shareholders. Just today, I saw that stock buybacks this year will hit over $1.5 trillion. We watched a More Perfect Union video, I believe, on this channel right here, where we just talked about a month ago, that during Donald Trump's first tax cut, that it enabled billions of dollars of stock buybacks. That money goes into shareholders' pockets. That does not go back into the investing in the business. It doesn't go into increasing wages for the workers. It goes back to shareholders. And this time they are going to make trillions of dollars off of it. Please, when he says this about the economy is struggling, please go look at PPI for today. Please go look at it.
Job creation is going down. He's trying to rewrite history, Smithsonian, censoring historical facts. And in the spirit of what Adam Schiff said, he's trying to put America in reverse on voting rights, civil rights, LGBTQ rights, on women's rights. He wants to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. That's what this is all about. It's about power. And I want to end on this. And we are about to give power back to the people.
Don't forget that bonus program, Fatty.
You have, on November 4th in California, you have the power to stand up to Trump. You have the power to declare that you support a system that is not rigged. You have the power on November 4th to stand up for people that are being bullied. You have the power to stand up for people that are being intimidated. You have the power to stand up to the rule of law. We're giving the people of this state the power to save democracy, not just in California, but all across the United States of America. I hope we are waking up to this reality. Wake up, America. Wake up to what Donald Trump is doing. Wake up to his assaults. Wake up to the assault on institutions and knowledge and history. Wake up to his war on science and public health. In his war against the American people. This is a guy who lays claim to want to get a Nobel Prize, sitting there and bending his knee to Mr. Putin.
The people laughing.
You have the power to straighten this out. And so I want to again just thank everybody for exercising not just their formal authority, yes, that's what we're doing, but also sharing their moral authority at this moment. I want to thank everybody for being here today, for being here tomorrow, and most importantly, we're counting on all of you on November 4th to be there for each other, to win this election and stand up for our democracy. Thank you all very, very much.
Well, I mean, I hope, right? I do hope. I do hope that Americans, specifically Californians, show up at the polls and vote for redistricting. But in my opinion, it's a trap. I don't think that this is the way that he should be going about it. It's not the way Texas would have went about it. And at this point, there literally is no rules, but at the least you could play this game by their rules. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, and check out that video on the screen now.